Hi everyone, welcome to this stream. This stream is going to be a Q&A stream about one of the upcoming courses that we have. The course is going to be about MLOps and it's called MLOps Zoomcamp. And in this course, we are going to cover the basic principles of MLOps. Here in this stream, the main purpose of this stream is for me to answer your questions. So the course is not starting yet. The course starts later. And right now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you the course repository. So if you want to find the course repository, so this is, I'm going to actually put this to the live chat and also in the video. So later, if you watch this in recording, you will find these links under the video. So let me, So now, if you watch this in recording, I think 22, refresh it. Did it save it? Yeah, I saved it. So you will see this. Okay, now you see the links. So you basically click more and you see the repo here, right? So if you watch later in recording, this is how you can access the links. Okay, so this is the course repo. And here you will find all the content. So if you want, you can already start with the content. We will change it slightly. So for example, orchestration module will be different. Actually, I think I made some changes recently, which I don't see them here. Yeah. So the orchestration module will be different. Apart from that, the rest will stay the same. So if you want, you can already go and go through the content, go there. Like here, you see like this is a video. You can, wow, it's huge. Interesting. Yeah, so here there are videos. You can click on these links and watch them. I think I need to do something with this huge image. I did not know that it's so huge. But all the content is there. One thing is, please give us this repo a star if you haven't given yet. And also remember to like the video. If you do this, people will learn about our free course. Okay, so this is the main entry point. And if you have not signed up for the course, signing up is not mandatory. But if you wish to do so, you can do by clicking on this button, sign up here. What will happen when you do that? You will see this form, right? And when you fill it, you can leave your email. And if you do this, you will be added to our newsletter. And this way you will receive updates about the course. So you will, in particular, you will receive an update about the course start date. So when we have the first stream of the course, the first official stream. So this is like a pre-course Q&A session. But when we start, like, you will get an email about the course. If you want to do this, then sign up. Otherwise, this is not mandatory. It's just for you if you want. And I think that's pretty much it. So the start date is May 5th, the 5th of May. Should be May the 4th, right? Like, you know, the Star Wars Day. But the Star Wars Day is Sunday. We usually start courses on Mondays. So yeah, we celebrate the Star Wars Day. And then on the next day, we will do the MLOps course. Okay, so that's the main thing. I will prepare slides, and then when the course officially starts, there will be slides where I explain about the course logistics, the course content. Right now, I'm not going to do any of that. I do not have slides right now. All I want to do here is just to answer your questions. And for that, you click on the link that is pinned in the live chat, or you go to slido.com and put MLOps there, or you just take your phone and point at your screen and scan this QR code, whatever you prefer. But this will give you this screen, this link, where you can ask questions about the course, and I'm going to answer these questions. So I still see things in the live chat, but it's somewhat disorganized, so it's not convenient for me to actually go through the questions in the live chat. That's why, so this is more organized. So please, if you have questions, use this link. And if there's a question that like somebody already asked, you can upvote it. And the first question, the most upvoted one, is if you need to make any extra money investment for cloud subscriptions and so on. So it is not necessary to pay for any cloud services. You don't have to. But I would actually suggest that you do, that you get an AWS account. So for example, we have here in the deployment section, in the deployment module, we have a module where we, where it is, streaming, this one. So it's optional, but here we show how to use cloud services like AWS Kinesis and AWS Lambda for deploying a model in this fashion, in the streaming way, right? And I think we also talk a bit about some, like it's not a lot. Like for example, here in experiment tracking, I think we also show how to deploy ML flow in AWS. Maybe one of these things. Yeah, probably this one. I don't remember exactly. But the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to pay for cloud services, but actually I would advise you to get an AWS account and spend at least $10 on that. You will not need more than that in order to do some of the things we talk here, because then you will have like more end-to-end experience with deployment. But again, you don't have to, and most of the things you can do or that are required for this course, 95% without a cloud. And one of the criteria, project criteria at the end, so at the end, your, how to say, performance is evaluated by your project, like how well you do the project. And one of the criteria there is cloud, right? Evaluation criteria. So if you want to use cloud, you will get extra points. If you don't want to use cloud, if you don't want to spend any money, you will just get fewer points, but it does not mean you will not pass the project. So you will definitely pass the project if the cloud part is missing. The rest you can do without any cloud, without paying a single cent. So yeah. How much of ML knowledge do I need to know to go into MLOps? So some of the things we cover in the course, I assume that you have some knowledge of ML. Like for example, in module 2, when we talk about experiment tracking, we just use models like XGBoost without explaining what they are. And while you don't have to know what XGBoost is and how it works, I think it's helpful when you do this, when you know how these things work. So it's not just like a random black box for you. That said, like if you don't know what XGBoost is, you have two options. First, you can learn what it is. And second, you can just continue treating it as a black box, and you will still be able to do the course, because the course is more like engineering focused than theory focused. So you will be able to do the course without knowing machine learning. But I think it's a good idea to learn some machine learning, just the basics, before you do this course. And in particular, what you can do is learn do we have a link here? I don't see. We should have a link to our ML. Okay, I will show you. I think there should be a link to our other course, but I'll show you where you can find it. If you go to DataTalksClub, there is this thing called courses. And then one of the courses is our machine learning Zoomcamp. So if you go here, you click on this GitHub icon, it will bring you to the GitHub repo of our machine learning engineering course. And here, while the course is about engineering, we cover the basics of machine learning. So we explain what regression is, what classification is, how to evaluate machine learning models. And we also talk about tree-based models and deep learning. So if you want to get some fundamentals, learn some fundamentals about machine learning, then this is where you can pick this up, so in this machine learning Zoomcamp. And again, the course focuses more on engineering, and that's why it's more like a super basic introduction to machine learning, but for this course, for MLOps course, it will be more than enough. And actually, I would say that this course is kind of a prerequisite to MLOps. So if you have done this course, then you're good to go. If you haven't done the course, the ML engineering course, you can still try to take the MLOps course. You should be able to, like if you know some machine learning, if you know some programming, if you know Python, it should be rather straightforward for you. But if you took this course, it will be definitely helpful. So yeah, I would say pretty basic, or if you don't really care what these things are, then yeah, it's okay to do it without any ML. And one of the things, I think this is what some people did in the past. They took the course without any machine learning knowledge, and then they finished the MLOps course, and then late in September, when this course starts, a live cohort starts, they joined the ML course and they caught up on the ML knowledge. So maybe this is something you want to do. Okay, can we manage full-time job with this? Well, it depends on what you do outside of your full-time job. Like if you have 3 kids, I don't know, a hobby that always requires your attention. Basically, what I'm trying to say, like, it's a matter of priorities. If you can devote like 10 times of your week to this course, then you should do fine. When it comes to actual time commitment, we are collecting some statistics. And if you go to our course management platform, which is courses at courses.datatalks.club, and then you go to the previous cohort, and you go to homework, and you can see homework statistics. And then you see how much time people spent on lectures and homework. So for homework number 1, they spent on average 7 hours, 4 on lectures and 3 on homework. And this way we can go across like for all the homeworks. So for homework 2, it was 4 and 5, a little bit more, like 9 in total. Homework 3, yeah, a bit more, but like I would say 10 on average. Let's see if the trend continues. Hope it does not. Yeah, now it's less than 10. Right? So I would say 10 on average is a good estimate. If you already have some background, if you don't have previous exposure to programming or to machine learning, it might be a bit more difficult for you. So then, let's say if you lack any of the prerequisites, and when it comes to prerequisites, let me find them. We have the prerequisites here. Yeah. So if you lack any of these prerequisites, then for you it will be more difficult. It will probably take more than 10 hours of your time. So yeah, again, up to you. But if it's just 10 hours, or like actually if these things are easy for you, it will require even less time for you to actually go through the course. A question from Sam: do we need cloud subscription? I think I answered that. Would it be managed locally? In almost all the cases, it's local setup. Which platform would you recommend, Linux or Windows? I personally use Windows. You can see here. So this is all Windows. But I would actually recommend Linux. I spent a lot of time working on Linux before switching back to Windows, more than 10 years. And now I just configured my Windows in such a way that it works kind of like Linux, because like I have a terminal with like all the commands here. Like I don't know, I have all the, so this is git bash, and I have like all the basic commands like wget, like I don't know, zip, gunzip, whatever. Like basically I can use it as Linux, except other things also work here. unlike Linux. But it took some time to configure it this way, so I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. And actually, the best way to learn Linux is to use Linux, and then yeah, you can go back to Windows or macOS is also good because it's a Linux-based, in Unix-based system. So with all the like the terminal working almost in the same way as in Linux systems on macOS. So the main problem with Windows and macOS is installing Docker. On Linux, it's super simple. On Windows, it took me like a couple of days to actually install Docker. And I heard that on macOS, it's also not the easiest thing. What I actually recommend using is GitHub Codespaces. Remember this huge image in module 1? This one, right? So this is actually, it talks about the environment preparation and specifically how to use GitHub Codespaces for this. So I recommend GitHub Codespaces. It comes with a Linux. It comes with Linux, so like all the Linux commands work there, and then it comes with Docker. So you don't need to install Docker. All you need to do is just get the like these code spaces, and it just works. So I think that would be, in my opinion, the best setup is just to go with code spaces. And since it's Linux based, I think it's Ubuntu or some Debian. Then you'll just learn. You'll just need to learn all the commands or use the commands if you haven't learned them. What are the best practices to follow the course and get the most out of it? Well, you probably need to ask the previous students, the students who previously took the course. You can do this in our Slack. Some recommendations is check our FAQ, then before posting your question on Slack, again, check FAQ, use search, check the notes from the students. So every module has a section with notes. You see, like for example, this is module number 1. So check the notes too if you struggle with understanding some of the concepts, because many of the students, they added something from themselves. So maybe they were struggling with understanding some of the things, and so they added extra things here. So for example, this person, was it he or she? Amber, probably she. So she actually explained how to do this on MacBook. Okay, but then she just SSH to some remote environment, so it was actually Linux. But yeah, you can, and she also, did she use PyCharm? Yeah, so in the course we use Visual Studio Code, but she decided to use PyCharm, and then she also describes how to do this. Right, so yeah, my other suggestion would be to use the notes. What else? Yeah, I guess these are the main ones. And just I see questions in the live chat, and I just want to remind you that the best way to ask questions is to use this link, Slido. I do not, it's very inconvenient for me to answer questions in the live chat. Here it's more organized, so please use Slido for asking questions. Do you have plans to incorporate tools like ZenML, Prefect, or CometML into subsequent Zoomcamps, and can they be used in our capstone projects? Plans to incorporate. So we already have Prefect. We use them in as an orchestrator 2 times actually. So if I go to orchestration, we have used Prefect in 2022 and 2023. And 2024 we use Mage. This year we will not focus on specific orchestrator, on any specific orchestrator. So what I want to do is re-record this module and give a general introduction to orchestrators, and then you can choose whatever orchestrator you want in your homework. So your homework will be choose an orchestrator and then implement it. So you will need to do it yourself. So, and The reason for that, like last year, we had a sponsor Mage. This year, we don't have a sponsor. That's why we don't need to restrict to any particular tool. And we already have some materials from the previous year. So if you want to learn Prefect or Mage, you can just go and learn them. When it comes to ZenML or CometML, I don't know these tools personally, so I cannot teach them. I've heard that they are good tools. Perhaps I can reach out to the team, and if you know somebody from this team, maybe you can put us in touch. But actually, I know folks from ZenML. Maybe it's time I wrote them and ask them if they want to collaborate on the course. But I think so. The thing with MLOps these days is it's not how to say fancy anymore. So even though the problem that MLOps solves, or the problems that MLOps solve, they still exist. They're still there, but they get less attention than before. And it seems like the market, according to the market trends, the tools now focus more on LLMs and AI. That's why for companies like ZenML, might not be actually interesting to take part in the MLOps course. And I think that was my okay, I will not go into details, but that was my impression when I talked to companies like ZenML, ZenML and the like. So they are more interested in the LLM part of today's stack rather than MLOps. That's actually why I also want to give a general overview of what orchestration is, what ML pipelines are, and how to use them. And then you will just take any tool you want and implement it yourself. And for the second part, can they be used in our capstone project? Yes, they can be. So actually for the projects, you can use anything you want. There is no limitation when it comes to the tools. So as long as it's in Orchestrator, you can use any orchestrator you want. If you want, instead of, let's say, MLflow, which we still teach, if you want to use any other tool that is doing, I think CometML is also, I think it's a replacement for MLflow, right? So it's experiment tracker. So then, yeah, you can use CometML instead of MLflow if you want. Or yeah, feel free to use Prefect. Prefect is amazing. Is a really good orchestrator. What's the expected time commitment every week? I think I answered the question already. Is it entirely taught with open source tools? Almost. So there are a few things that are not open source, and they are usually cloud. So the optional module about streaming, where we used Kinesis and Lambda, is not open source. But the rest, I think the rest is open source. I don't remember any other non-open source tool. Yeah, but usually in our courses, so I'm personally a big fan of open source, and yeah, I try to use open source whenever possible. How similar are deployment Kubernetes, Ksurf, and other engineering models from ML Zoomcamp to the content of the MLOps Zoomcamp? So ML Zoomcamp focuses only on the web, on deployment through a web service, right? We also cover Kubernetes. Here in MLOps Zoomcamp, we explore multiple ways of deploying. First is web service, but then we also talk about batch deployment and streaming, which is not covered in MLOps. We don't go deep into each one of them. We just cover all three and say, okay, all these three ways of deploying a model exist, but we don't go deeper into that. And in ML Zoomcamp, we explored one way of deploying, like these web services, but we went deeper. We first did the Flask way, and then we talked about Kubernetes, we talked about Lambda, so we explored more ways of doing that. So To some extent, there are some similarities. And actually, in the MLOps course, we assume that you already know some of the stuff. Like here, we don't cover Kubernetes, but when it comes to Flask, we kind of assume that, like Docker and things like that. Yeah. So there is a slight overlap, but not a lot. Are there any different advanced tools or technologies that are planned for this course? Well, I don't know what you mean by advanced, but there are some technologies. So let me see. In intro, we don't use anything specific. It's just an introduction course. So we talk about MLOps, we prepare the environment, and there is like problem. We introduce the problem that we are going to solve throughout the course. Then the second module is experiment tracking. So here we cover ML flow, orchestration. So the past cohort materials use Mage or Prefect. You can use them, but then you can choose any orchestrator you want. When it comes to deployment, it's Docker, Flask. Then we use MLflow, Kinesis, Lambda. Then we use Batch. And with Batch here, the example is we don't have a video, but you can use any orchestrator for doing batch prediction. And then monitoring we use Evidently, and best practices we use tools like LocalStack, which simulates cloud locally. And we talk about testing, PyTest, LocalStack, make files, and then we talk about Terraform and CI/CD. Yeah, so this is what we cover when it comes to tools and technologies. If MLOps gets less attention, is it worth allocating time to it? Is it a prerequisite to switch to LLM later? It's definitely not a prerequisite to switch to LLM later. So these are quite separate things. So MLOps solves the problem of ML operations. So this is, as the name suggests, MLOps, ML operations. And even though it gets less attention, but the reason it gets less attention is because it's not like air quotes hype anymore. So like all the hype now is in the AI and LLM space, but the problem MLOps solves, the problems MLOps solves, they are still there. The teams, the ML engineering teams, the data science teams, they still have these problems. We still need to know how to manage experiments. We still need to know how to deploy our models. We still need to know how to, monitor the quality of our models. Because LLMs, they don't solve all these problems. With LLMs, we can do some machine learning. But for example, you cannot use an LLM to predict the duration of a taxi ride. Maybe actually I did not test, but I don't think it will work well. And this is then an example we have in this course. So in this course, the running example is predicting the duration of a taxi trip from one point to another point. I don't think LLMs are good at this. So LLMs are good at certain tasks, but for many of them, you don't use LLMs, you cannot use LLMs. You still need classical machine learning, and many of the problems that businesses still solve and rely on, or solutions they rely on, they are classical ML. And operating these ML models is still needed. So in my opinion, if you want to be an ML engineer, if you want to work as an ML engineer, then it is definitely worth allocating time to it. But it's not a prerequisite for switching to LLM later. These are completely separate things. It just happened to be the current, the current topic that gets a lot of attention, because many problems that before was difficult to solve now is possible to solve with LLMs. We have many solutions in the LLM space. It simplified our work. So that's why it seems to me that most of the investors and most of the vendors, they are focusing on this domain because it's something new, it's disrupting, and MLOps gets less attention. but it's still there. It's still needed. And if you want to focus on becoming a good ML engineer, you still need to take it. That said, I'm not sure this course will run this course again. So it might be that this is the last iteration of the course. And the reason for that, we couldn't find a sponsor for this edition. And also when it comes to course participants, it seems to get less registrations, fewer registrations compared to last year's. So it is very well possible that this is the last year we offer this course. We will see how it goes. So probably in a couple of years, MLOps will be interesting again. So then we will re-record some of the things. But even if we do it for the last time this year, all the materials will of course stay, and the course will be available for self-paced mode. So don't worry, all the content will stay. And if you want later, when the course is already over, if you want to learn MLOps, you will be able to do this. This laptop is sufficient. In fact, any laptop is sufficient, especially if you use code spaces. So then for you, all you need to have is internet connection. And even if you just use a tablet, you don't have a laptop, then you can program from your tablet by connecting to code spaces and doing everything from there. Why are you offering such high quality and hard work for free in these courses? Yeah, this question is quite often asked. So first of all, for me personally, it's a way to give back to the community. So when I was switching my careers, when I was a software engineer and I was switching to data science, and later when I was a data scientist and I was upskilling myself, I took a lot of courses for free. I think most of the courses I took I don't remember taking paid courses actually. And some of these courses were community organized by different communities. One of them is Open Data Science community. It's a Russian-speaking community that does not exist anymore. And for me, it's like a way to give back to the community because I benefited a lot for free courses. So now I want to others to also benefit. And also I found a way to earn money from this too. So even though the course is for free for you, then at the end somebody needs to pay for this. And you may notice that in our newsletters, there are sponsored blogs. So there are companies who pay us money to promote their content through our newsletter. Then we have workshops. It's also, some of them are sponsored. Then sometimes we have sponsors on courses. So for example, Mage last year sponsored 3 of our courses. This year, nobody is sponsoring the MLOps course. But we have sponsors for other courses. So somebody is paying for these courses. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to focus my time on giving these courses for free if nobody would, because I live in Berlin. It's not a cheap city, and this flat, of course, means I need to pay rent. So I luckily I found a way to give the courses for free and still earn some money. It's not a lot of money, but it's enough to live the lifestyle I want. So yeah, for me, I was just lucky to find this way of earning of the free courses. And I hope you also enjoy this opportunity to learn for free. And yeah, so I hope it continues this way and I will not have any problems continuing to offer free courses in the future. What is the difference in content comparing the MLOps Zoomcamps in previous years? I think I answered this question, so mostly it will be the same content except the orchestration model. Will the Zoomcamp cover Airflow or Kubeflow instead of Mage? No, like the thing is, usually somebody from a company who knows these tools comes and records a video. So this way I don't have any collaboration for this particular course. That's why like I will not be able to record a good quality video about a tool I don't use. So I don't use Airflow, I don't use Kubeflow. So right now, because I no longer work as a data scientist, my experience with some tools, it's limited. So I can take a course and then kind of present the same thing, but it won't be, how to say, real life experience. So for some tools that I use personally, I can of course teach them. But when it comes to, like, I don't know, Kubeflow, uh, I don't have enough background, enough knowledge to actually cover it properly to give it all the credit it deserves, right? If there was a company behind Kubeflow who would be willing to collaborate on me on building the content like that, and if this company is listening to this right now, please reach out. We can make it happen. But for me, it's very difficult to do that. So no, for this specific course, for this specific edition, no. I will just teach you the fundamentals, the main ideas, and then you can choose any orchestrator you want, and then use it in your project. And this way, you will learn this orchestrator. If you feel like it's too much, then you can just take any existing, like, pre-recorded content from the previous years and use that. Like, for example, Prefect is a good tool, Mage is a good tool. You can learn them. I don't really know Docker. Can I still do the course? I have a bit of knowledge about the rest. You have good news is that you have 1 month before the course actually starts. So then you can invest this month into going to our machine learning Zoom camp and doing the module number 5, which is about deployment. And if you do this module, it should give you sufficient background in Docker to do this particular course, MLOps course, properly. But also Docker is not that difficult. Like, I mean, it is difficult. It's for some things, but we don't need all the features of Docker. So we just need the basic ones. And in my opinion, picking up the basic ones is not that difficult. Usually the main problem with Docker, at least this is what I saw from our students, is if you have Windows and you need to install it, then it might be a problem. But you can easily solve this problem by using code spaces, right? But actually, I do suggest figuring out how to install Docker if it's a problem for you, because it's a very useful tool. You need to have it on your computer. If you're serious about development and engineering, you need to have it. So, in my personal opinion, of course. What role in the corporate world is this Zoomcamp applicable to? So, corporate world. Well, in the industry, let's say it like that. So in the industry, in the current state of the industry, the role is ML engineer. So the ML engineers, they usually do things like that we discuss. There is also a role, I don't know, I don't think, I don't know if it still exists, like the MLOps engineer. There are certainly platform engineers, or sometimes they're called DevOps engineers, sometimes they're called SREs or whatever. So these are the people who prepare, who set up the environment for the developers or engineers to work in. So this could be partly applicable, but we teach more like tools rather than how to deploy them. It's like how to use the tools rather than setting them up. So I would say the most applicable role is ML engineer. Data scientist too. Yeah, probably these two, data scientists and ML engineers, or people who need to work with machine learning. So let's say if you're a software engineer and you work in ML team or in a data team, this will be pretty useful for you too. Will LLM take over MLOps task? I mean, will ML be fully automated using LLM? No, never. So LLMs are good at solving some tasks, but not all of them. So for example, I recently was talking to a startup and they are trying to predict house prices using LLMs. And of course it doesn't work because LLMs are not for that. They're not made for these things. For that, you need to build a classical ML model using gradient boosted trees like be it XGBoost or CutBoost or whatever. So you cannot solve this problem with LLMs. And there are problems like that you cannot solve it with LLMs. And even if you can, for some of these problems, it just becomes too expensive. So LLMs are good at some things. They're excellent at some things. For some things, they are good but expensive. So what happens is you first use an LLM as a prototype, and then you can eventually switch to a classical ML model. For some things, LLMs are just bad, right? So you just need to use it as one of the tools in your arsenal of tools. Let's say if you're a data scientist, so you need to know when LLMs are applicable and when you use classical machine learning. So, and again, if we talk, so here in this form, it says, will LLM take over MLOps tasks? I think they're pretty distinct worlds, let's say, because LLMs are models and MLOps is ML operations. So like it's, mixing apples and oranges, kind of, if you know what I mean. But so if we talk about a counterpart in the LLM world, it would be LLM ops, which is about operational, making LLMs operational, which also covers things like monitoring, which cover things like, I don't know, experiment tracking for fine tuning and things like that. So some of the concepts, they transfer to the LLM world. Yeah, some don't, I guess. I don't know much about LLM ops. I know some things about MLOps. But to me, it seems like using old things for new things. But there is, of course, a twist because LLMs are specific. So unlike the classical machine learning models, they are big, they're heavy. They solve a particular set of tasks. So so they are more like focus or niche or like, and they work with natural language. That's another thing, right? Which ML models work with numbers, LLMs work with words. So yeah, I guess I answered this question, right? Is that Castra doesn't fit with orchestration needs in MLOps Zoomcamp as well? I mean, you can use Castra here too. It would work too. Like any orchestrator would work here. So there are orchestrators that are specifically made for machine learning models. But general purpose data orchestrators work fine too, like Prefect, Mage, they are general purpose orchestrators. And in my opinion, they work perfectly well for MLOps tasks or ML engineering tasks. Some ML engineers would disagree and say that, hey, we need ML specific things like Kubeflow. Well, everyone has their opinions. They, to a certain extent, they are right. So Kubeflow is a good tool. There are other tools. I think ZenML is also one of them. So they are like orchestrators, but specifically focused on solving machine learning problems. You can just choose whatever tool you want and explore and see if you like it. I like using more general purpose tools because then I can use this tool for many things, not just machine learning. So I can solve data problems, I can solve ML problems, I can do other things too. So Castra fits pretty well for the needs of MLOps as an orchestrator, I think. Would there be any changes to the existing course materials? I think I answered that. Why no? Just MLflow. Uh, not Neptune. So I haven't contacted Neptune. So if you know some people from there and you think we can talk and see if we can collaborate, please put us in touch. But to be honest, I'm pretty happy with MLflow. I really like the tool. And the main thing is learning the concept. So if you learn the concept using MLflow and later at work you use weights and biases or Neptune or Comet ML, I don't think it matters. The important thing is you know what experiment tracking is and when to use it, and you also know what a model registry is and when to use it. So and then it doesn't matter which tool you use for that, because like they are all more or less the same. Will we cover Docker? No, but we use Docker, so it's one of the prerequisites. I'm fine with spending money for AWS, but I heard AWS can have exploding costs. Is there a way to prevent waking up with a 5K bill? Can we limit spending? So you can set up alerts. So like up to let's say the alert I have right now in my AWS account is when my spendings exceed $100. So then I get an email. And then I can go, if it happens, then I can go and see what is actually eating money or what is spending money, and then I can disable this service. But then you also need to, how to say, maybe have basic hygiene rules, so to say, when it comes to Docker or when it comes to cloud. Like if you set something up, don't forget to tear this down, to remove it, to turn it off, right? So especially like here in this course, we talk about Kinesis, and if you forget to remove your Kinesis theme, it will cost some money. It will not be a 5,000 bill. It will be more like a 100 bill, but it's still some money. You probably don't want to spend like $3 a day on a Kinesis theme you don't use, right? I don't remember the exact price ranges and orders of these prices, but it's just a general good rule. Like if you don't need the resource, you remove it, you destroy it, right? So you don't want to pay for something you don't use. But again, alerts is a useful tool. Do you recommend that students follow one track, or is it possible for them to take all of your courses? It's possible to take all the courses in the world you want. The question is time, your time, and priorities, right? So what you want to learn. So if you want to learn MLOps, then you're in the right place. If you want to learn something else, yeah, you can take like our data engineering course, but data engineering course for this year is almost over. We'll have another iteration next year. But if you want to learn on your own, be my guest. You can take as many courses as you want in parallel. But again, remember, you have only 24 hours per day. You need to sleep, right? You need to work or study. I don't know what you need to do. Spend time with friends and family. So, yeah, you decide how you spend these 24 hours. But yeah, everything is possible. Sky is the limit, right? So this course is not for SRE DevOps engineers or separate roles as a MLOps engineer. I would say no. So we do not teach how to. We teach you the basics. We teach you Terraform. We teach you CI/CD like GitHub Actions. We teach you. We also show how to deploy MLflow, but I wouldn't say this is the core. This is the main focus. So we teach you how to do this, and if you prefer to later focus on the ops role, by all means do that. So we will give you enough foundation. But just in my experience, that the roles I observe in the industry, ML engineers also do that. They also need to, maybe they need to know the basics. You know, they don't necessarily need to, prepare the infrastructure. But if need be, they need to support data scientists when it comes to these things. So I would say, yeah, the main target audience is people who want to become ML engineers, also data scientists. But if your plan is to become a platform engineer or like ops person, by all means, take the course too. You will get a lot of useful things for that too. I'm new to MLOps field. I just got started with ML course. How much ML do I need to know? I think I covered that. How much Python do we need to know for this course? Enough to not to be scared. Let me think how to answer this question best. So we don't use any fancy things like classes. We don't do any OOP. So just basic things like functions, like if statements, for loops, things like that. So what you can do right now, because the course starts in 1 month roughly, you can just go through existing modules and take a look at the notebooks and the code, the scripts, the Python scripts, and see if you understand them. If you understand, then you're good to go. If you don't, then maybe take a basic Python course. If you already know how to program in any other programming language, for you learning Python should take like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. I mean, the syntax, of course, there are tools. There is the ecosystem around the actual Python that you will also need to get familiar. So it will be more than 15 minutes. But Python is such a simple language, and if you know Java or if you know C++, then picking Python shouldn't be that difficult. So just the basic Python. What the time is? I think we still have time for me to answer a few more questions. It's getting darker outside. Oh, it's all right. Sorry. Just give me a second. I'll turn on this light too. When this course will start and how will you communicate the timetable? Because I have not received any timetable or details about this bootcamp yet. Okay, so you go to this website. This is the course repository, and you see that the start date is May the 5th. Each of the modules takes roughly 1 week. So the first one will probably give 2 weeks for that because some people join late. So let's say 2 weeks for this one for this, one for this, one for this, one for this, and one for this. And then 3 weeks for the final project. So here's your timeline. And then the final projects will have 2 attempts, so plus 3 to that. When it comes to specific timelines, they will be published on our course management platform. So this is from the last year. You can see the due dates. For this year, we don't have them. Nothing is published yet. So closer to the start date of the course, you will have everything there. Yeah, that's more or less it. So the communication channels will be Telegram channel. You can find the link to subscribe to Telegram channel here, Telegram announcements. And then this, if you don't want to install Telegram for whatever reason, okay, the announcements will be posted to our Slack channel. Do you teach Git? No, we don't teach Git. We assume you know Git. DVC, we don't teach DVC. And other tools, which is required for MLOps as a part of this course. We have videos about DVC if you want to learn them. So let me show you how to find them. I think if you just go to our channel and put DVC here, then yeah, we have a few things about DVC. GitOps for ML, continuous integration, best ML practices. So yeah, all this. So this one is about DVC and this one is about DVC. I don't know why this one appears 2 times. They seem different. Anyways, so they talk about DVC. So if you want to learn DVC, you can do it in our channel too. But like there are so many tools, there are so many things we don't cover. It's not possible to cover all of them. So we try to pick up the main concepts of MLOps. Of course, we missed some, and it's okay. So we just focus on this 20% that should give you the, let's say 90% that covers 90% of use cases in the industry, in my opinion and opinion of other instructors, right? So we try to focus on these tools. But of course, like when you start working as a ML engineer, you join a company and there will be something else that we don't cover here. And it's totally normal, right? So you will just need to learn these tools too. When it comes to Git, as I said, it's just a prerequisite for this. So you need to know how to use Git. I think it's a prerequisite for all our courses, actually. But like we don't use any crazy things. And like to be honest, with ChatGPT, you can get pretty far with Git, like without investing a single minute of properly learning Git, like through tutorials. You just ask ChatGPT, like, how do you achieve this thing? You copy, paste, and then you learn this way. I think, yeah, these days learning things is like cheating because it's so easy with like tools like ChatGPT. Cool. What is this secret orchestration tool you're hiding from us? Well, I'm not hiding anything. As I said, there will be no there will be no orchestrator tool this year. So you are free to use whatever you want. What are the tentative dates for LLM Zoomcamp? Okay, so this is how you find out. You go to our LLM Zoomcamp course repo, and you see this cute robot, and behind, like near the robot, there's the date, June 2, which means that there will be an overlap between the MLOps course and the LLM course. But like for a month, there will be no overlap. And actually, I plan to have a major redesign, not a super major, but there will be some things will be shuffled around for this edition of LLM Zoomcamp. But that's the date. This is what you can add to your calendar. What skills are needed to transition to MLOps for DevOps engineer? Do you need to have data science knowledge? I think you don't necessarily need a lot of data science knowledge, but just having some basics of machine learning will help. And again, I would refer to our ML Zoomcamp. Here, I would suggest you go through ML course and then MLOps course. Right now, you can just focus on the MLOps course, and then later you go through ML course. And this should be more than enough to actually transition, because I think, so I know MLOps engineers, they are not necessarily called this way, but they are like, let's say they are more like platform engineers. They know super basic things about ML, and this is not their main job. So they build usually tools, the platforms for data scientists, ML engineers to use. So they need to have some understanding of how to operate ML models, but they don't need to know in details how they work internally. So maybe for you, yeah, just conceptually understanding that, okay, ML model is a black box where you throw in a bunch of numbers and then it gives back one number, gives back a number. Then, like on this level, you can go quite far with this conceptualization of ML. But also, if you're a DevOps engineer, when it comes to this one, so probably you know Kubernetes already, you know deployment already, because it's Flask, it's Docker, it's Python, it's something quite simple. So maybe you can just go through like a first couple of models here, and then go through our MLOps Zoomcamp. Where it is. I see Makefiles is used as the task running for this course, not a friend of Make. Syntax can be used, bash scripts. Yeah, you can use whatever you want. So in one of the modules, we do introduce Makefiles, we do introduce Make, and I personally think Make is a great tool, because for me, the reason I use Make is I can just type make run. I don't need to remember the syntax for running certain things. And for me, it's always the same. So for example, this DataTalksClub. So this uses Jekyll. I don't remember the command to run, I think it's Jekyll serve or something. So all I do is just make run, and actually like under the hood, so there is like make file, right? And when I do make run, this is what is executed. I don't need to remember this. And all my projects, I just make run, and that's it. And make tests, for example. So here, there are no tests in this particular project, but another, you just do make tests and then tests run. You don't need to remember how to actually run tests. What is the command? You just do make tests and then it happens. So for me, this is the main advantage of make. It's just, a way to make shortcuts, but if you don't like it, don't use it. You don't have to. Not fancy anymore. What do I mean? So if you look at what companies raise money right now and what for, like where investors, the interest of investors are, where the money is right now in the current market, you will see that it's not in the MLOps space. Usually it's in the AI and LLM space. So most of the money is there. Most of the public interest is there. Um, it's some of us may say it's just hype. It is partly hype, but also LLMs solve a lot of problems. So I think so. MLOps was a hot topic a couple of years ago, but then this hype cycle from the Gardner, this chart, like when it goes up and then it goes down, there's like some disillusionment and disillusion. How to pronounce this word? Disillusion. But yeah, anyways, like Gardner hype cycle. So this thing, right? So like it goes up. So MLOps was here a couple of years ago. Right now it's here, right? So now it needs to become, I guess, more mature. But this is just in the nature of things, I guess. So AI is here right now, right? So we'll see what happens when it goes here, if it ever will. But AI solves some problems. MLOps solves some problems. We just by AI, I mean all these new LLMs like ChatGPT and so on. Yeah. So I think it seems like MLOps here. We don't get a lot of. I don't see a lot of investment. I don't see a lot of interest. The problems are still there because these problems made MLOps get the hype in the first place, right? So it's still there, but just the focus, the attention of the market is elsewhere now, not on MLOps tools. So this is what I mean. Are there any prerequisites in DevOps before joining the course? No. With all the information out there, how to narrow your focus to one thing and following your courses, Hugging Face, Deep Learning AI. I don't have an answer to this question. So at some point, you just need to pick something. So you can maybe take a coin and throw it. Yeah, I wish I had an answer to that. I sometimes have this problem, but then you will help yourself choose. Like if you see that you're actually dropping out of some things, then maybe it's not your thing. So yeah, I don't know how to properly answer this question, to be honest. Any projects that has been executed using Duckster? So for those who don't know, Duckster is another orchestrator. I do not remember if any of our students use Duckster, but you can actually check. Like if you go to MLOps Zoomcamp or other projects too, project attempt, and then you can see all the projects. It's not the most convenient way of doing this, but let's say, what did Ivan use? So we can see here in the description. So Ivan used Prefect last year. Well, I think it's a good choice. Prefect is a good tool. Then Kira, what did Kira use? So we should see here. Mage. Okay. So then you can just go through the projects from the last year. Again, this is not the most convenient interface, I guess, to see who used Duckster and who used something else. But yeah, this is how you can see, for example, what did Svetlana use? I do not see what exactly she used. Maybe she actually didn't use any orchestrator. Would be possible too. Yeah, that's the because it's just one of the criteria. Maybe she just didn't use it, which is fine too. Is it beneficial for students entering the data field? What coding and web level is necessary? So it's 3 questions in one, right? So I see that we are running, so we take, it's past 6, I need to finish because I have a concert today. So Throne is playing. This is a metalcore band. It's a Swedish hardcore punk metalcore band. So they're playing tonight and they start at 7. So I need to go. So I'll answer this question and then I'll go prepare for the concert. But don't worry, we will cover these questions. So there will be, like when we start the course, there will be another Q&A session where we can finish these questions. Okay, is it beneficial for students entering the data field? It depends on what you mean by the data field. It's a broad topic. Data can be data analysis, then it's not. Data engineering, also not super relevant. Data science and machine learning, yes, it is beneficial. What coding and web level is necessary? Some coding, like you don't have to be like an expert and solve lead code hard problems, but you just need to know some Python and you need to be able to program yourself or with help of ChatGPT. Web level, we don't need any, you don't need to know JavaScript or React or whatever is there. So yeah, none. Industry opportunities exist. Well, open LinkedIn and type in ML engineer and you'll see. I think it's a pretty in-demand role. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I want to thank you all for the session, for this engaging session, for asking all these questions. I hope my answers were good, helpful. I'm really looking forward to the course, even though I said maybe it will be the last time we run this. MLOps is very close to my heart personally, because when I was working full-time at ALEXEY, my previous employer, my main role, my main focus was MLOps. So this was my main responsibility. I was running a small MLOps team, and we were helping data scientists to be more effective at their work. We helped them with the tools. We helped them with best practices. We helped them with showing how to use these tools. So MLOps is a topic that is very close to my heart. I spent a lot of time doing MLOps, learning MLOps, practicing MLOps. And I hope you will also benefit from this knowledge that I accumulated over years. It's kind of sad for me personally to see that the market interest is elsewhere. But all the materials, as I said, will stay. Let's see what the future brings. But I still think that despite all the things I mentioned, we'll have a lot of time this year also learning MLOps concepts, and it will be very beneficial for you in your future career as ML engineers. So we'll see each other in roughly 1 month on the 5th of May. If you think you're liking any of the prerequisites, you can check them and see like if you need to improve any of them. Also go through some of the course. You can go through some of the content right now and see if you actually like any of the things. Like if you're not sure if your Python is good enough or not, you can just take a look at the code and decide, okay, yes, actually, now I can invest this month into learning some Python or learning some Docker or whatever, and then you'll be fully prepared when the course starts. So that's it for today. So now I'm going to grab a bite and prepare for the concert tonight. So, and you too have a nice evening, and